I pulled out at the last minute.
That's what she said. You are listening to Chicagoland's finest podcast. The all-new Culture Cast begins now. I'm Nick.
I'm Cousin Charles.
And this is the all-new Culture Cast, and we're back with another episode. Welcome, Cuz. Thanks for being on again here. We are
to always be on.
We are past Thanksgiving. We are past Black Friday. We're into our Christmas season, which means only one thing. It's time to talk about Riverdale.
Woo!
None of that's actually connected, but the last 2 years we've had a Riverdale podcast episode in the fall, and this year's going to be no exception. So we're going to be talking about season 3 of Riverdale. And are you watching season 4 currently?
I am, yes.
Okay, so I'm sure some of this will spill into season 4. I don't care if you spoil what's going on with season 4 because I have not actually seen season 3 of Riverdale. It's I'm not anti the show. I just didn't have time for it, and I intended to watch season 3, but then I'm like, I don't have time for this bullshit. So I'm relying completely on you to catch me up on what went on during Riverdale season 3. So, are you up to that task?
Like I said, my palms are shaking, knees are sweaty, but I'm ready to spit some hot fire and because there's a lot of bullshit to unpack here.
Okay, you can make it all up because I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to have I've pulled up here an episode list, so we can we can review certain things and just to see what happens, and I might ask questions about what's like I read this on Wikipedia. What does that mean? So
Okay.
let's briefly recap of where season 2 ended, if I'm remembering this correctly. Luke Perry, may he rest in peace, was not elected mayor, but Hermione Granger, no, not Hermione Granger.
Hermione Lodge.
Hermione Lodge. It's the same character, just special effects. She was elected mayor, mayor, and Hiram was,
you got it.
Was meeting up with all the local no good doers in the town, saying we're all going to team up for something. They're making a little Legion of Doom.
Yes.
And let's see. And somehow inexplicably, Jughead is now the leader of the Serpents because sure, that's the thing that happens. And Archie is arrested for murder because he killed a. Did he kill a guy, or was it Hiram who killed the guy who tried to rob him a few episodes earlier? I can't remember if Archie did it in self-defense or if it was taken care of by someone else.
No. So it was. So in the context of the show, it was because I think this is 10 episodes prior to the finale. It was like a weird one-off episode where they decided to bring that plot thread back, but it was like one of Hiram's fixers who actually killed one of the Shadow Lake boys. But then Hiram, because Hiram decides to go to war with children, and I'll get into that more, decides to frame Archie Andrews, sweet Archie Andrews, just as he's being inaugurated as class president for the murder of a random townie.
Yes, because that's when to do it. I've noticed TV shows do that. Another example immediately springs to mind is I used to watch the TV show Veronica Mars.
Okay.
And in one of the in the graduation episode of Veronica Mars, one of the characters was arrested at his graduation ceremony for the murder of a rando character from an episode or two previously. Now, the guy did kill him, so I mean that was actually some truth to that. He locked him in a building that was going to be demolished, So I mean, there is that, but it's like of all the times to arrest like a high school student, you think you'd be like, let's not do it in a public manner. I don't know. Maybe they figure that's the best way to do it.
Nick, if television has taught me anything, if you're going to arrest somebody, you got to do it in a big public forum for everybody to see. Hopefully, that's how. Hopefully, that's how some future criminals get arrested. I hope that's all criminals get arrested. Big public displays of just big public displays. Like a soap opera live in the streets.
So let's see. I think that covers. I think a lot of the cliffhangers, like all the major ones. I think.
No. There's actually one more. There's actually one more that you missed.
Oh, what was
so
that?
after it was this cast, because I think you covered Jughead, Archie, and Veronica. Forget about Betty, the character who's got the fucking weirdest arc in this entire show. So as it was revealed, her dad, Hal Cooper, who's like that,
Who's a
I
serial
can't remember the
killer.
actor's name. He's always like, yeah. So he was the Black Hood serial killer. I can't remember what she does. I know her mom, like, pretty much has close to a mental break. And so Polly, who, by the way, inexplicably during season 2, at some Polly joined a cult, which is one of the things. There's a few things in Riverdale that I'll accept, kind of like, leaps in logic. That was one that kind of irked me because I'm like, you didn't introduce that. You just pretty much just said she's in a cult now. No showing her pulling up to a gates, nobody handing her like a pamphlet or nothing. Like, just you decided, yep, this character has and has always been in a cult. And basically, and that's kind of our introduction to one of the big bad forces in season 3, the farm. So
Yeah, didn't
that pretty much, that's where everybody's.
didn't they send what's her face to the farm, the redheaded Cheryl Blossom, like in at the end of season 2 or something like that? Or no, they sent her to the religious cult, the religious
They
place,
said
to de-gay her.
Yeah, they sent her to Mike Pence's personal conversion camp to pray away the gay. No, it's actually because my mind is filled with all this useless knowledge of Riverdale. It's the Sisters of Quiet Mercy. Nick, we gotta be factual for our audience.
Yeah, well, apparently so.
But that yeah, because that kind of, I don't want to say it doesn't go anywhere, but it kind of but yeah, that's something that happens with Cheryl. But Cheryl then, I guess, because Cheryl's kind of the weird fifth leg of the Riverdale crew, because people are like, oh, we love Cheryl Blossom. But I think she is now, at the start of season 2, she becomes a part of the Serpents. She's got her own jacket.
That's right.
So she's now...
That's right. She did it to piss off her mom, and because she's kind of dating... Is she dating the other Serpent girl? I can't think of what her name is.
Tony Topaz, and yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
She also got Cheryl also, I think. She only uses it once or twice, I think, this season. Her own Arrowverse costume, as I've dubbed it. Because it's, again, the biggest misuse.
Yeah, because she knows how to be she's like a pro with bow and arrow or something.
Exactly, yeah. She's got the hook. Like, it's pretty much like, I mean, to you, listener at home, go onto the Googles or the Bings, wherever you use, type in just Arrowverse Speedy costume, and it's pretty much, it's almost virtually identical to several of the costumes that they've used across Arrow's 8 seasons. Which, again, biggest disappointment that they didn't use the Arrow sound cue whenever she's firing her bow and arrow. But that's my personal gripe. I get it. Riverdale can't entertain to just me only. So, but yeah, I think that's where all the characters go. And I think in preparation, because I've actually, surprisingly, Riverdale is one of the few shows outside of outside of series that you like binge, where I've actually seen every episode. Like I've watched every episode in sequential order. I don't know why. I mean, there's probably much better use for my time, I'm sure, but
no, it's
still entertaining. I'm still entertained by it. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the other it's like kind of like Flash or Arrow or any one of the CW super DC shows where it's kind of a little bit of a diamond in the rough, but at least the diamonds here are just so bizarre that it's just you kind of wonder like what are we doing anymore? But yeah, so so I have most of the stuff memorized, but I'll be honest, a lot of the events kind of blur together. So I kind of know general ideas of things that happened, but in terms of like what happened in this episode, I'll take my best shot at it.
Okay. So, all right, let's talk about the overall stories of Riverdale here of season 2. Oh,
Or season
season 3. Season 3. So,
yeah,
okay.
Season 2 is another episode of this show.
Yeah. So let's first talk about the story arc of Archie being in jail. So you're right. Harem was threatened by a 17-year-old who feels
Yes.
he's going to thwart his plans somehow, because his plan was to create like a jail, and provide jobs to the city. How evil of him.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe I said it on the last podcast that we did of this, and outside of people being worried about a jail with criminals in their town, I don't see the downside to having something that would bring employment to the town. But that's neither here nor there. So what happened? Tell me about Archie in jail.
Okay, Archie in jail. First of all, Archie does something really, really dumb. It says, "I'll take the fall for a crime he didn't commit." Again, this is the start of Archie's really dumb decisions that plague him for the rest of the series. So Archie goes to juvie, which is pretty much set up like I've never been to juvie. I don't know what juvie is like.
No.
In fact, I'm not even sure if you go to juvie for murder if you're 17. I feel like you're tried as an I don't know what the legality is. Point is, they wanted to get Archie into a prison type situation. Where he's actually Archie is inducted into the Serpents. That's the first thing I want to mention.
Okay.
Because they give him a serpent tattoo for protection. Because I think he meets up with, if you remember, if anybody remembers back to season 1, Joaquin. That character is in the jail and is there to protect Archie. Archie then meets. And this is kind of going into a little bit of season 4, but a lot of this still pertains to season 3. He meets someone who will become his new boxing best friend, Mad Dog. I don't know where they found this guy.
He's got to be a comic character somewhere.
Probably some sort of weird Archie comics character, I'm sure. But Mad Dog, I don't know where and full disclosure, like I said, it's I'm not trying to make the podcast weird or anything. I don't know where they found this guy. This dude's got pecs on pecs. Like, he is jacked. For a character that's supposed to be roughly 17, 18, dude is ripped.
Well, Archie's ripped or Joaquin is ripped?
Joaquin, I don't know what Joaquin is. Archie is pretty ripped, but this dude ate. Like, I think he eats like a pound of, like, when you're in the store, they have like those big jars of like the whey protein powder.
Mm-hmm.
I think this dude just eats that dry. He doesn't put in water or anything. Mad Dog is jacked. And the reason Mad Dog is jacked is the warden, who kind of reminds me of the warden from Shawshank. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not a coincidence. I'm pretty sure they were like, we want you to look like the guy from the Shawshank Redemption. Is the warden runs an underground fight ring in prison with underage boys.
That was an episode of something. That was in some other show or movie or something, but I don't remember what it was now.
I know. Walker, Texas Ranger. They did that in Walker, Texas Ranger. I didn't even make that connection. Yeah.
Not the connection I was thinking of, but I'm sure many shows had done it. But there's another show, like, more recently, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. It's not important. Maybe it was I don't know. If anyone listening thinks you know what it is, just shoot us a message. We'll be happy to learn what it is, and we'll read it live on air. So there you go.
Yes. People are standing by. So do you want me to go through the whole of Archie's general arc through the entire season?
Yeah. Give me the highlights. What's the story here?
Okay. And like I said, there's a lot of So okay, Archie becomes fight ring. Turns out Archie is really good at beating up dudes. Um, kind of comes to the. Oh, God, I'm trying to think. I think at one point. Oh, and this ties into the bigger overarching thing. Archie gets branded in prison, like kind of like a, you know, he gets branded with a mysterious symbol, which I don't even think came up. I'll be honest. I think weird plot lines Riverdale started, but I'm not sure if they fully completed. Regardless, okay, so he's a fight ring. Pretty much the warden's like, you're so good, you're screwing me out of money or something. Again, I'm not sure how this works. They plan it. Archie's friends, Veronica, Betty, Betty's gay friend. I can't remember his name now.
Kevin
I know,
Kleiner.
Kevin. Okay, they pull a prison escape on him. Which, by the way, the prison escape takes place at a underworld, like it's like an underworld fight night thing. Like it's not just the prison guards and like the warden, like kind of betting money. It's like criminals, which of course include Hiram Lodge, because Hiram Lodge has been making Archie's life hell. Has been making Archie's life hell throughout this whole show. Literally, at one point, this is kind of a quick aside, but I swear it's connected to Archie. At one point, Hiram Lodge, a grown man who has won against a 17-year-old by all reasonable manner, pulls up to the prison. Of course, Veronica and the Riverdale Vixens are there to cheerlead because Archie, such a good man, has put on his own version of the Longest Guard. But Hiram pulls up to basically give a signal to the warden to send the guards down to put down basically the guards come down there and beat the shit out of everybody. They say, oh, it's a prison riot. You know what I mean? Basically they just beat the crap out of them. Okay, so going back to Archie's route. So jailbreak during the fight night. Also, in between the first time we meet Mad Dog and like this fight night, we're led to believe that Mad Dog has been killed. Oh, Mad Dog's no longer my champion. You are. That's the warden, by the way.
Gotcha.
So the fight match is between Archie and Mad Dog. I think Mad Dog holds off the guards as Archie escapes through doors a la Shawshank because the show's references aren't very subtle. So after he climbs through the sewers, oh, God. Jesus, I'm like trying to remember because a lot of stuff happened in this show or this season. Okay, so he escapes. His dad, him and oh god, I'm just remembering this. So him and Jughead are like making their way up to Canada, like they're on foot. There's a weird. Now this is not a major thing that happened, but it's just a weird detail that I kind of want to mention because I'm pretty sure it's very weird. So while Jughead and Archie are making their way up to Canada.
So let me pause right there. I have a question for you. Why do they want to break Archie out of jail? Because they know he's innocent or something, or
they know he's they know he's innocent. Oh, now I remember, because Archie is supposed to take a dive and pretty much get killed. I think.
Doesn't Archie have like a lawyer or anything to try his case?
Molly Ringwald and I think Luke Perry at the time are trying to fight for his rights, but the warden's stonewalling them. I think if I remember, that's what the reason. Veronica's been trying to get him out of jail, and I think here's kind of the weird part of all this. So Archie's in jail for a murder he didn't commit. I think Veronica is actually able to. Oh God, I think something with the governor. Not sure. I'd have to double check it. But the long story short, she's able to get hit. Kind of what's the word I'm looking for? She's able to get him pardoned, or she's able to get the ruling overturned. This is of course after he's escaped from prison. So I think it happens independent of Veronica, or she's worked with it. I truly can't remember, but I know he's set as a free man. We're like, hey, you didn't do it, Archie. I think that happens while he's on the run.
It's weird that it's weird that the warden can like
Mhm.
stonewall something that's completely outside of his jurisdiction. Because like
Oh
Warden's
yeah,
not the other lawyer. Warden's not like a cop on this. He's just like making sure Archie is in jail, and he doesn't
yeah.
escape. That's his job. Not to like try the case.
Well,
He don't care. But
well,
it's TV logic. It's TV logic.
yeah. Well, don't forget. Well, don't forget, Nick. The warden also worked for Hiram Lodge. As you'll discover,
Sure.
many people work for Hiram Lodge. Okay, so while him and because him and Jughead are on the run, they actually make a weird pit stop. You might enjoy this as a fan of Smallville. They stop at the Kent farm. Um, like, I'm not joking. Like, because I think
Oh, I
right
believe you.
around this time that this was, I think right around this time that this was airing,
Were they
I
doing
think
the
the
Elseworlds?
Arrowverse was doing. Yeah, and I noticed the yellow house, the yellow farmhouse that was the Kent house and the barn. And then when they get to this farm on the run, I'm like, oh my god, this is the Kent farm set.
Were,
Like,
were they
that's the yellow
like?
house.
Were they like? Was Archie like? Boy, Jughead, you really saved me.
I don't think they went that. I could be wrong. There may have been something more blatant than that, but it was one of those things I found very, very distracting. I mean, say what you will, the CW is very cost efficient. They got that farmhouse set for 3 days, and by God, they're going to use
They
it for
use
all
it.
3 days.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, Jughead and Archie then go. So Archie then is driven up to Canada. He gets some sort of position. Where, this is another weird thing that happens that comes up amazing in the finale. Because the finale I'll kind of talk about by itself, I think.
Hmm.
So Archie is like working as like a ranger or something like that while he's kind of laying low. It doesn't matter. He's there with his dog, but while Archie is like doing his ranger stuff, he gets mauled by a bear. He then has a series of dream sequences where he like, I think it's supposed to be he's killing off or fighting off his personal demons. I think there's a fantasy sequence where he kills Hiram. There's one where he kills himself, and I can't remember what the first one was. I know I'm kind of working backwards from that, but I know he has some dream sequences. That episode actually ends on a cliffhanger where like, because Archie's in like a cabin in the middle of where it ends on a cliffhanger where two rangers show up, like two other rangers kind of show up like several hours later, and it's supposed to look like Archie's dead. Like there's no like, kind of like on a TV show where somebody's faking out that that they died, where it's like at the last second they show the character gasping like.
Hmm.
There was none of that. They like made it seem like Archie was dead, and then in the next episode, he's just fine. Like
It's like,
they
cool. Glad I got
they
out of that one.
yeah, no, it's bizarre. It's like, why would you introduce this whole Archie gets mauled by a bear and almost die and looks like he died? Then the next episode, just brush it off like it's nothing. I think a couple times, I think somebody in the makeup department kind of must have remembered it because they put a couple of faint little like tiny scratches like where the bear claw was supposed to be,
Hmm.
but that's about it. It's very, very bizarre. Oh Jesus. Okay, so then after this, the main thing, Archie tries to get revenge on Hiram, but because he's Archie and is ultimately a good person, doesn't. He then gets into boxing, but not only gets into boxing, he actually ends up owning a gym that was gifted to him by Hiram as pens for stopping somebody else killing Hiram, and I'll get into that. I'll get to that a little bit later on.
Okay. Stop. Pause. Time out. Time out.
Yep.
Hiram puts Archie in jail. Archie escapes,
Yes.
goes on the run. While he's on the run,
Yes.
Hiram gives him a gym.
No. This is after Archie gets back. This is after. So for some reason, even though he escaped from prison, I'm not sure what the crime is for that, but I'm pretty sure it's up. It's kind of
Well,
up there.
in TV logic, you're escaping from prison if you beat the original charge.
Yeah.
That's TV
This is
logic.
yes. So I was going to kind of go into this because I think the adults kind of deserve their own sort of special mention. But one of the things that happens in the worlds of the adults, which, by the way, from the first season onwards, they've gotten progressively dumber and dumber. The Riverdale tried doing its own version of a Who Shot JR kind of moment, but they had a Who Shot Hiram, which I won't get too. I can get into it in a little bit, but I want to keep going back into the main four.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, the assassin came. Archie was going to go to the hospital to kill Hiram once and for all, but the assassin was there, so Archie decided to shoot at the assassin, and kind of as like, sort of like, you saved my life, I'll give you something in return type of deal, because, again, TV logic. That's when Hiram gives the gem, and then Archie's main thing, I think after this, I think Archie does some other stuff, like with boxing and stuff like that, but none of it's really that interesting. Like, basically the main thing that you need to know after he gets the gem is Archie is now a boxer. He's no longer a musician. Archie is now a boxer. He is a fighter. And that is going to be, or he's no longer a good fella from season 2. He is 100% now a boxer, fighter, and that's kind of where because I think there's a bunch of stuff. There was a couple other fight sequences with him and Mad Dog, because Mad Dog comes back. And that's the most that I can remember Archie's thing, where that's where season 3 kind of ends a lot of his stuff, is that he's a fighter. He owns a gym now, and I think that's the main of it. I know I'm probably missing out a lot, but I'll be honest, a lot of stuff happened in the show, and I want to get on to the other characters.
Okay.
So that's kind of the main thrust of the real crazy stuff, short of the finale. I will mention something that's specific to him.
What happened to the prison? Is that still in the mix, or has that been forgotten about?
Hiram's prison?
Yes.
Yes. So that is still in the mix.
Okay.
The prison's not forgotten about. It's actually used it's used later on, which I'll kind of get to when I kind of go over sort of the end games for the two major sides, because I'm kind of thinking I'll finish going through the main 4, and then and then I'll go through the adult, and then the main plot thrust of the story.
Okay. I'll be patient.
But
Be patient. So what's going on with Veronica? What's her?
Veronica. Story? Okay, so Veronica. Okay, like I said, I'm trying to think. I kind of got too caught up with Archie Andrews. Let's see. I actually have a lot of my reference points are coming from a article from BuzzFeed about 130 things that happened this past year in Riverdale, or in
only 130 things.
Surprisingly, only 130 things. Let me see. I'm kind of scrolling back a little bit. Okay, so Veronica's main thing. Okay, now I'm kind of going back through it. So Veronica's main thing. The first little part of the season, while Archie's in G, she's trying to get him out, which makes sense. But then the main thrust of this season and the next, and like kind of the next, and this kind of carried over to the next season, is Veronica kind of wants to strike out on her own. Pretty much because her dad, not too dissimilar from her father, as he's both a businessman and a criminal. That's where a lot of Veronica's stuff comes in. Now, how would a 17? Because I think at the end of season 2, Veronica actually was given the first piece in this puzzle, where I think she bought the deed to Pops at the end of season 2 from Hiram. Oh,
yeah. Because Pops wanted to shut it down, and Veronica cut a deal with him or something like that. Or Hiram wanted to shut it down.
I think Veronica bought the White Worm, which since season 3 we have not used that set. I will say, so the White Worm bar set does not show up. So that's what a lot of Veronica stuff. The way that she achieves this, I just want to kind of clarify for the audience. Veronica, a 17-year-old high school student, decides to open a speakeasy under Pops. Now, I'm no structural engineer. Pops looks to be about like an old rail car that they kind of expanded into a diner, like a lot of them were back in the day. Somehow they were able to
like Frank's Diner in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yes, not too dissimilar from Frank's Diner in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
A little plug for a friend of the show who doesn't probably listen.
Yeah. But no, so go back to her thing.
Sorry.
So it's like a full bar. It's a full bar set, like that's supposed to be beneath the diner,
Why does
and
she
they
want to
don't
open a
serve
speakeasy? That makes no sense.
as a hangout for teens, because she specifically says, I think a couple times, oh, we make mocktails, which is supposed to be like a cocktail without the alcohol. Which I'll be honest, I know that's how they started that whole thing, but I'm pretty sure at some points that gets thrown out. I don't know when. So she has the speakeasy. I'm kind of going back through it to sort of remember what else happened with her. 'Cause I know a lot of stuff happened. Like I said, a lot of stuff happened this season. Okay, so I'm going back through kind of like the list of things that happened. So I think during all that, Archie and Veronica did break up. Spoilers, they get back together. But
he doesn't go to Betty like the goes back and forth like in the comics.
Surprisingly, no. Actually, no. Oh shoot! I completely forgot that part. Archie actually hooks up with Josie from Josie and the Pussycats.
Well,
I think that happens for like a handful of episodes.
I know they dated briefly in like the first season, but it ended like really early on, if I'm not mistaken. Because I do remember there was something about that where they briefly did date.
Yeah. Yes, but also not quite. So Archie date. I kind of remember what you're talking about. Archie actually did. He didn't date Josie. He dated one of the other girls who was like the drummer who hasn't been back in the show since. But it was like one of the other. But this, I think, in season 3, he actually dates Josie proper, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Oh, and I think the other thing. So the speakeasy idea that they give Veronica, I think, fully devolves. Or I shouldn't say fully devolves, but it changed from just a speakeasy into a full like underground casino. Not too dissimilar from, oh god, what's the Paul Newman movie where it's like in the 30s?
The Sting.
The Sting, yeah. Like it's literally that kind. Like they have like the different casino like playing boards, stuff like that, or like hidden away and things like that. I'm pretty sure that happens. Okay. So yeah, she has a speakeasy. She's going. I think she tries to get. Oh god, I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff happens, so I apologize if I'm missing over things. But I think so. She opens this. She has to turn the speakeasy into a casino because her mom was going to sell all of Hiram's drugs and drug making equipment to.
Naturally,
it turns out like Hermione Lodge was going to sell it in order to get out of the game, but Veronica decided to destroy it. So basically, the lodges owe. Get this, Jughead's mom, who actually pops up this season, who's also like a gang leader. Like their version of the Serpents are more actual, gang-like. I think, yeah. So Veronica owes like $2 million, I think, and I think around this time she starts dating Richie. I think, yeah, I think she starts dating Richie or Reggie.
Right. Okay. Like Archie's kind of, sort of nemesis, frenemy, his frenemy.
Yeah, kind of not really. Kind of played like a big dolt. So.
Well, I guess I'm going off of the
else?
comics because I know in the comics like Reggie's kind of like Archie's frenemy, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Hey, tell me more.
Okay. I'm kind of going back. I kind of have to go back through this. Because I'm like I said, I'm trying to joggle my memory.
Trying to jug your head.
Yeah. No. Because there's a lot. Let's see. So yeah, they turn the thing into a casino. Oh God. I apologize for friends at home, but I'm just trying. Like I said, a lot of dumb stuff happened in this show. Okay, I think short of the two finale moments I kind of want to talk about. I think that's the main gist of what Veronica does.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember anything, short of like stuff specifically that happened in the finale that I want to go over. That's the main thing for Veronica's path this season was she opens a speakeasy / casino and is basically trying to skirt the line between not turning into a criminal and trying to be on the straight and narrow.
So basically,
I think it was just of her.
She's doing Archie's storyline from season 2.
Yeah, kind of. Oh yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You hit the nail right on the head. Which one we want to do next? Or what would like to be covered next?
Tell me about Betty. What's that idiot up to? What's my least favorite character on the show up to?
Oh, yeah, Nick, strap in. There's going to be a lot.
I feel like they don't know what to do with Betty because in the comics she's like this prim and proper goody two-shoes girl, and that's boring for TV drama, so they give her like the craziest stuff to do.
Yeah, they try to make. I think there's a couple times they try to make her like, I'm a journalist, but then they also go into dark Betty mode. Bum bum bum.
Because that's Hereditary.
Oh no! It gets more than just Hereditary. It comes up quite a lot, and especially in season 4, which in my opinion, I think there's some moments in season 4 that reach peak stupidity, where I'm just laughing at just like at the fact that some of these images have been committed to screen.
Well, let's hold off on season 4 for right now, and okay. Tell me what's Betty up to in this season.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, so a lot of Betty's story tied in with her mom, Alice. And Alice since discovering that Hal was the serial killer was the Black Hood, has joined the farm, and the farm, the show didn't. I'll be honest, the show really didn't know what to do with the farm, because the first image that we had.
Alice joined a cult.
Oh, yes, Alice joined a cult.
Okay, gotcha.
But they play it up. So they play it up kind of half and half. Like it's a little bit. They do some of the new age stuff that a lot of like Moonites and things like that from like the 70s. We're like, oh, we're all about all natural and this and that. But the first big thing that there's something weird with the farm and with the cults is they have a scene which. You're going to love this. They have a scene where Betty goes out to their back. Alice and Polly are with the babies and a bunch of other farm people, and they're having a bonfire. They toss the babies into the fire, and the babies float in the air.
Oh, okay. That happens. That's a thing that happens.
Oh, yeah, naturally. Do you want to know the best part of all this?
Absolutely.
So the crazy implication of Alice and Polly and the babies, and maybe some sort of weird magic or supernatural element, because this season plays with something the big bad's called the Gargoyle King. It goes absolutely nowhere. They never bring it up. They never address it. The only thing they say is, and this is kind of brought up with the whole general plot line of the season, which I'll talk about in a sec, but. She said, "Oh, you had a seizure, and that's what you saw." Kind of like the brushing off. But nope, never brought up why the babies were floating. Never addressed again. There's never anything else that's really supernatural. I guess short of maybe one part of the family, but even that's kind of thrown away by season 4. But yeah, so that's kind of the main. That's the main conflict of Betty's journey is she's kind of going against her mom as her mom's getting more involved with the cult. Betty's trying to kind of deprogram her is Betty's main gist throughout it. Some of the highlights I'm trying to go through. Let's see. So the main I know there's a couple. So I'm trying to think of some of the highlights from it, because again, a lot of this stuff blurs between episodes because I feel like it happens several times. But one of the things I do want to bring up in terms of like status quo. So Riverdale's a small town, like smallish kind of town, I would imagine.
When it needs to
Somehow,
be.
when it needs to be, because somehow in the county jail or the local jail, Hal Cooper, the Black Hood, has been put in a Hannibal Lecter style cell where it's literally like, concrete walls and like a glass cage, just like Silence of the Lambs.
Of course.
Yep. And so Betty goes to Hal to try to kind of understand her darkness. Of course, is a recurring thing with Betty. I think Alice like drains like all their money. I know she tells all the cult people, because they're like, you have to tell your deepest, darkest secret. I know she tells the cult, oh yeah, I killed somebody in our living room. And I think the cult then records that on tape.
I see where that's going.
Yep. Let's see. I'm trying to just find this. I know at one point while Betty is trying to like free her mom, who again, her mom's an adult woman and Betty is a high schooler. While this is happening, I know Alice sends Betty to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, the crazy nuns who were introduced back in the first season, I think. And so the nuns are giving. I'm trying to remember. The nuns are basically. They're somewhat involved with the whole Gargoyle King plot, although it's not really clear. I'll
what's the Gargoyle King plot? Because what is that about? Is that because we've gone, I don't know, something like 48 minutes.
Oh my god!
And we gotta start. You gotta start like editing down what you're talking about, because we're going long here.
I do apologize for that. There's just been a lot of.
What the hell is the Gargoyle King?
Okay, so the main thing throughout season 3, just like how season 2 had the Black Hood, this year they had, which is, so like many things in Riverdale, they couldn't afford the license, so instead of Dungeons and Dragons, it's Griffins and Gargoyles, which is like a D&D style game. But it's not just any D&D, it's an e-game, not too dissimilar to like, the Satanic Panic and all that fun jazz.
Sure.
And so it's a moniker that was used, I believe, by several characters in the show. So I think Hiram used it a couple times to like, because there actually is a gang called like the Gargoyles, because apparently the Ghoulies are done from season 2. And so I know Hiram used Tallboy to disguise themselves as the Gargoyle King, which I will say the design that they use is actually pretty creepy. It's like it's a weird sort of. It's got kind of like wings, but they're like tree branches, and the face is kind of like bloody and like wooden. So it's actually a pretty design, considering that this is an adaptation of an Archie's comic. So I will give props. I will give credit there. But so that's the main kind of connecting thread through a lot of the episodes is this mystery. Because it's connected to a D&D style game. There's possibly somebody dressing up as the girl. Or one of the aspects of the game is that it leads some of the players to actually kill themselves in order to Jim Jones style ascent. So I think that's kind of like the big thing. Jesus, I am so sorry, Nick. There's just a lot. My brain's trying to condense it. One of the aspects early on in this season is, how I brought up Shawshank Redemption for Archie's story?
Yes.
So with the Gargoyle King, they kind of do a little something. They kind of rip off some elements from it, in the sense of kind of how like in it, Pennywise comes back every 27 years or something like that. So the parents also dealt with their knockoff D&D game and the Gargoyle King when they were kids. And there actually is probably the best episode of this season was when they did like weird they did a flashback episode, and all the same actors, or the same characters in present day play the child versions of their parents.
Yeah, that's a neat idea.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, okay, that's actually,
And
it's something that they kind of
the guy who played Hiram's son, the
mm,
actor who plays Hiram, his son played him.
yes, because there's no like 1-to-1 ratio, which is a nice thing. And I think, oh god, there was something because all the parents met up in like a Breakfast Club style detention. I'm trying to think who the principal was at the time because I think it was somebody. Hold on, I'm going to do a quick Google search. But anyhow, so the parents kind of know about it because their principal was murdered while they were playing G&G, which apparently during the night, during one of the nights that they're playing in the school, like after hours, their principal was mysteriously committed suicide under mysterious circumstances. So the idea being that one of them, while they were high on drugs, because something that they drank there while they were playing the game was like laced with the show's weird drug, like Jingle Jangle or something. No,
Jingle
Fizzle
Jangle.
Rocks. That's what it is.
Where
Yeah,
do they come up
I
with
don't
these
think they really
names?
use. I think they just throw a dart at the board and see what sticks. Yeah, Fizzle Rocks is what they're made of dress time around.
Okay.
Which I think a side character says it's pretty much crystal meth mixed up with pop rocks.
Seems legit.
But yeah. So because the Garlic King plot, it kind of unlike the Black Hood, where like I think in season 2 you can go back to the tape and try to check it. I think I said in season 2 they started with it, abandoned it for a long time, and then suddenly picked it back up. The one thing I will give Riverdale season 3 some credit for, they didn't abandon the Gargoyle King or the farm. Most of those elements were present throughout most of the episodes, so it wasn't like, oh yeah, we forgot about our big bat this season.
So wait, what does it have to do with Betty? You're talking about Betty and something she's chasing the Gargoyle Queen or King?
King. So it's kind of tied. So it's kind of tied into. I think. No, I think if I remember correctly, I think the events of G&G and the farm, I think they more or less ran parallel. I don't remember I don't think they ever said one was directly connected to the other. Like I think a lot of the kids who played G&G, a lot of them ended up in the farm, but I don't think they were ever connected. So it was kind of weird because they made it seem like these two forces were like one and the same, but I don't think they ever fully connected one to the other. I think a couple times they tried to, but they never fully like said, "Oh, these are the same forces." Betty's main antagonist, I would say, for her story, kind of like how Hiram was the main antagonist for both Archie and Veronica. Betty's is Chad Michael Murray of One Tree Hill fame. He comes back he is in the show as Edgar Evernever.
Of course he is.
Yeah, with his wife. Oh God, I can't remember what her first name is, but it's also Evernever or something like that. And they're the leaders of the cult. And I think the big thing that Betty discovers, because she's kind of so there's a lot of back and forth, because I think she mostly gets away from the Gargoyle King plot to have Jughead take that up. But I think in the beginning she was involved with it more. And her main thing towards like the last half of the season is with the farm. The big thing that she discovers is that the farm's whole kind of plot is to harvest organs. So they're a organ harvesting operation. We're like, we're going to cleanse you by removing a kidney from your side. So I think that's the main thing. The one thing I do want to mention before I close out with at least Jughead. So they do fully say Betty. Like there's one scene like after I think Betty goes to the farm at one point because she's like, I'm done dealing with the Gargoyle King and all this. No, fuck. I am so sorry. There is a lot of shit that they brought up that I'm trying to condense. I'm trying. That's why I want to tell the writers because they're not focusing. So Betty's dad, the Hannibal Lecter of this series, fakes his death and actually escapes from prison. Like they say, the prison bus that your dad was in crashed, and all we could find was his hand. And I was like, that dude is showing up with a hook hand. And you know
Yeah,
what?
he shows up with a hook hand.
He shows up. Yes, he shows up with a hook hand. And what's weird is, they have a sequence where at like a prom or something, where Betty actually gets chased by the Black Hood, her dad. And I thought for a second, oh, this is like a weird, this is like a dream sequence. Like the lighting was weird and like it didn't make sense for him to kind of be back. But no, the next episode or either like later that episode or the start of the next episode confirmed that, yeah, the Black Hood was back. He killed several teenagers at their prom, and so now he's a player back in the game. We brought back the big bad from last season, and that's why she ends up at the farm, where both Edgar, Alice, and Polly sit down and say, "Betty, you have the serial killer gene." No joke. They actually say, "You have a serial killer gene. You are a serial killer."
Because that's how it happens, people.
That's exactly how it happens. And guess what, Nick? It doesn't go away for season 4, so get ready for that.
So she's still a serial killer in season 4?
No, but they explore more of Dark and the fact that she has a serial killer gene. And when we eventually get around to season 4 in like 2 years, I'll kind of go into that as well. And then lastly, I'll breeze through Jughead. Jughead's main thing, he's always got to have a mystery solved so he can write his book so he can finish writing this book that, yeah, because every time it seems like he's wrapping up, it's like, but then that's when things only got worse. Jughead's main thing, I think he takes a brunt a lot of the Gargoyle King story, because I think he starts investigating it. I think at one point he has like a weird moment where he's like crazy, where he's like Betty meets him like at one of the sets that's used a lot this season, the weird underground bunker that they discovered that all the kids use. It pops up a lot this season. I want to just give a quick mention to that. But he goes like, "Betty, I'm finally understanding the game," like all crazy eyes, and it's never brought up again. It's just like that 1 or 2 episodes he like goes nuts. But then, so his main thing besides that is he's also dealing with gangland stuff, which is not really too interesting. Like they have a conflict with the new Gargoyle gang, which is weird. So the one thing I will mention about them, so their leader is named Kurtz, and they treat him not too dissimilar to Marlon Brando in like Heart of Darkness or Apocalypse Now, because he's like, "Are you Kurtz?" And like he's in like Shadow the same way. I'm pretty sure they toss out a line where it's like, "You're an errand boy" or something. So again, one of the many weird homages, we'll call it, that they do. Because Kurtz kind of becomes Jughead's rival for the show. Also, Jughead's mom, like I said, because her and Jellybean are kind of working together to try to take over Riverdale's crime, but that's neither here nor there. And I know I've been going on for God knows how long, and I do apologize.
So let's talk about the finale, because excuse me, you said like a lot of crazy stuff goes down in that finale.
Yes. So there's, I can't remember, I'm not sure if they're in the same episode. We'll call them as both finale-esque moments. We'll call it the takedown of the big human villain, which is Hiram Lodge. Is one episode, is kind of like one part of it, and then the second part of it is the reveal of the Gargoyle King. So, first of all, the one thing I want to say, Hiram's awesome Legion of Doom that he sets up at the beginning of at the end of season 2, pretty much gets dismantled within like the first 2 or 3 episodes. So unfortunately, it's not really in play the way that I think you and I both would have liked. So this is after Hiram gets shot. Veronica's like, you know what, I gotta get rid of my dad. This is crazy. This is nuts. So she meets up with somebody from the FBI, and they come up with a plan to entrap Hiram. So I think they're going. So it's like a 2-part thing. I can't remember the some part with like casino and like the FBI is going to raid the casino, but to distract her dad, To distract her dad, Veronica and Archie come up with a plan. Their plan is, and this is the crux of Archie's whole boxing story, is Archie is going to fight Hiram to kind of like, this town ain't big enough for the two of us, so we are going to box to decide who gets to stay in Riverdale. And it's, I will say, Hiram's a little bit shorter, so it's a pretty brutal fight, I will say, but that's their big plan, is they're going to distract Hiram by boxing, so that's how Archie's and Veronica's story sort of ends. Is Hiram's arrested, he goes to his own prison, where they pretty much reveal that he's really not in any danger whatsoever. Like, he's like, yeah, I built this prison, I paid the guards, I'm pretty much living in my own sort of castle. Mm-hmm. So that's where Archie, Veronica, and Hiram sort of end. So then with the Gargoyle King, the Gargoyle aspect of it all, I think the four of them, I think for most of the season, the main four were barely together. Like, I think maybe one or two of them might be in a scene at a time, but it was never really all four of them together trying to hatch out a plan, except for the finale. So it's revealed that the mastermind behind all of this, the real Gargoyle King, if you would please stand up, was, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Penelope Blossom. So Penelope Blossom was the mastermind behind G&G, behind the Gargoyle King, and all that. The way that the show explains a lot of it, actually, I do. I'll do a quick aside from, I think, a previous episode. So Muggs, I think, Beth from Stranger Things, she's like, throughout this whole season, she's been kind of like deeply involved with the Gargoyle King and like this weird sort of cult of personality around him. She reveals who the Gargoyle King is, where she tells him it's Jason Blossom, which, as you may remember, he dead with a bull in his head. The show goes as far as actually digging the coffin, so having Jughead go grave robbing and showing an empty coffin, where you're like, oh, is it really him? It's not, by the way. So it's actually a chick. Go ahead.
I guess I'm still confused at what the Gargoyle King's... What was the Gargoyle King trying to do? Just, like, recruit people into this weird cult thing? Or just... Maybe explained it, but
I'll be honest, I don't even know if the show really explained it. My best approximation is... It's one part being used by Hiram / Jughead's mom to, like, push drugs throughout Riverdale. Okay. Like, there's that aspect where, like, they're using that guise. But then there's a whole nother aspect where it's like, it's all about this game, and you got to kill yourself to ascend, and all that stuff. And I think that's like a whole separate, entire different entity to it all. If I'm not mistaken.
So basically, there are multiple Gargoyle Kings doing different things at different times for different reasons.
Yep. Not too dissimilar from the fact in season 2 there were multiple Black Hoods doing things for different reasons.
I'm beginning to think the writers are just making this up as they go along and have no clear plan about what the end result's going to be. It's just a feeling. Just a feeling.
Nick, when you have to write up a season worth of 22 hours worth of television, you sometimes got to pull a few things out of your butt. So they decided to bring back Chick for the finale.
So he wasn't dead?
No, because they give a line where, like, Hal, because again Hal's involved with all this too. He's like, I found a kindred spirit with him and brought him back to Penelope to have her mold him into, like, Chick or not to Chick, into Jason or something dumb. It was something dumb along those lines. Penelope, because I think in the flashback episode, Penelope was the game master back then when the parents were all teens. And so it was some sort of weird revenge on all of them. I think she was, like, pissed when, like, I think she says her motivation for all this was something along the lines of she was upset that the parents parents, who she thought were her friends, weren't there to support her when Jason was killed, so now she's taking it out on on all their kids. I think it's something along those lines. I could be wrong. Like I said, a lot of stuff happened in this show. But she basically sends our main four on like a final quest, where each of them has some challenge related to what they've gone through. The highlight of all this, of all those challenges, because I will say I think there's one where like Betty and Veronica poison. Veronica drinks the poison chalice because she doesn't want Betty to get hurt. I know Betty is supposed to like shoot her dad. She doesn't end up doing that. I think Penelope shoots her dad. You're a killer, kind of thing. Because again, Dark Betty. I'll be honest, I don't remember what Jughead's was. The main one, and this is I've kind of worked backwards a little bit, but mainly because the first challenge they face is the best one. It had me dying on the floor laughing. So as you'll recall from 37 episodes ago, Archie is mauled by a bear, and so his challenge is he must fight the bear within. How does the show accomplish this? They have a guy dress up in like a bear suit. Like, they make it seem like, God, is he actually going to fight an actual bear that we've never seen before, who fights Archie in a bear suit, which is
so
probably the highlight of the whole finale. It sounds so dumb, and trust me, kind of a sneak peek for season 4, not even as dumb as the show can go, because when it can go dumb, it'll go dumb. I think it's the main thing. I'm trying to remember where all the characters end up. I think... Oh, for the most part, a lot of the stuff kind of wraps itself up. The end of season 3 kind of wraps itself up pretty nicely. Like, it does it... I think it gives Archie the gym, Jughead, Veronica, I think all of them kind of... They ended sort of like, we're like, you know what? We're going to go into senior year together, and it's going to be great. And I think the tease into this season was they very strongly imply that around spring break of this year, of this season, they make it seem like the gang killed Jughead, is what the tease was for what's to come next season, because they couldn't come up with anything on their own. And I'll be honest, Nick, I do apologize. I probably am long-winded, but I tried cramming 22 hours of television into one cohesive, like, summarization. Because I didn't even touch upon some other minor things, such as FP becomes sheriff.
What?
There's a whole... Yeah, no, they made FP... They turned FP, former gang leader, into the sheriff of Riverdale. There was a weird... So there's something... So remember when I mentioned Betty having the seizures? They turned that into like a weird sickness that spread through Riverdale, of like all these girls are having seizures, which allows... They use that as a cover story to then quarantine the town of Riverdale. There actually is a point where Riverdale is supposed to be quarantined, which you think would be an awesome setup for some great scenarios, but it's resolved off screen. Okay, of course. And with the Who Shot Hiram thing that they introduce, turns out that was a orchestrated effort between FP and Hermione Lodge, which also results in, I'm trying to think, a couple minor villains die. I think Tallboy is actually killed, and so is Sheriff Minetta, who was also like the bad sheriff that was with Hiram. They're both killed. The farm thing gets... I think Cheryl and Tony get recruited into the farm's cult, which that's a whole... The point I'm trying to get to is nobody on the show knows what the hell is going on, and you are absolutely 100% correct. They are making this stuff up as they go, because I don't think they planned on the show being as popular, because if I remember correctly, the first season was pretty quaint. It was silly, but it had a kind of a good solid mystery, and it had some fun, it was pretty, compared to where the show is now, it seems mundane. Where the show is going for season 4, it, I think they're trying. I think they're trying to out crazy themselves, which, in some respects, it's working because there's one episode in season 4 that made me laugh harder than I've ever laughed before. I actually had to rewind it a couple times because it was so stupid. But I think it's most of the things I can think of from season 3. I got nothing else. I've tried to get all the best bits as well as I could.
Well, it sounds pretty insane. Okay, that's Riverdale. Now, let me ask you one last question.
Okay.
How do they deal with, or at all, when Luke Perry died? They still had episodes to
Okay.
film. Do they just like say like, oh, I know they probably don't kill him off until the season 4, but like at the end of the season 3, is he just disappear from the last couple episodes, or is he saying like, oh, he went to go out of town on a business trip? Do they
They
know?
don't. I don't think they. I think while season 3 was being made, I don't think they really. If I remember correctly, you can kind of tell because I think because Luke Perry's with his character is more involved from the like in the first half of the season, and then it just like maybe every couple of episodes he'll have a few random he'll just like pop up randomly. So you can kind of tell like, oh yeah, he was supposed to probably be here. His character's probably supposed to be here to film something.
Hmm.
He just sort of disappears. I think they try to supplement it by having Molly Ringwald come back. I think near the very end. I will say so to kind of like fill in what his character would say if I recall. But he just is sort of. I don't think they really have. They just sort of. They don't really do anything corny like that where they're like, oh, he's actually out of town or something like that. He just kind of. They just stop showing him is more or less what happens.
Got it.
I will say a quick thing. I'll probably address this more when we eventually get around to season 4. The first episode of season 4 is like a massive tribute episode. And I'll get into more details then.
I did hear about
good.
that. So
The first episode was a nice little tribute. It put the gang together, had them on a little mini adventure, which was sweet, and it was a good kind of like. I'll be honest, I teared up a little bit. So it was well done in terms of how you write off a character like that, especially when it is that sudden.
okay, well that's interesting. I look forward to probably never watching it, but
I would say if you watch any episode from season 4, that's pretty good because it's pretty standalone. Like none of the other crazy stuff like that I mentioned, like the speakeasy, gang wars, boxing gyms. None of that is brought up. It's pretty straightforward and kind of like underplayed, so it's not as insane.
well, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds like a lot happens. Sounds like I missed out on a lot. I'm probably not going to go back and watch anything I missed out on because I don't have the time for that. But thank you for filling me in on what happened on season 3 of Riverdale.
Well, I'm always glad to be here. Somebody's got to keep watching these shows, and I will gladly be that somebody.
And the funny thing, or no, I guess I shouldn't say funny thing, but the interesting thing about Riverdale is that we've had 2 episodes on our show about talking about Riverdale, and they have been the more popular ones in the like in terms of people downloading and listening to our show. Like tons of people listen to the Riverdale episodes, so that's something.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know. So, for those of you who actually listen to this episode and don't listen to anything else, we encourage you to listen to more of our nonsense and check out some more stuff because we got plenty of it. You know you want it.
We're at max capacity.
So yeah, so that's what I got with that. So all right, well I got nothing else to talk about. I think we've reached our capacity with the Riverdale stuff. So you want to take us out? Or you got anything final thoughts?
Yeah, I will say, with the power of like hindsight, season 3 in many ways improved on season 2, but in a lot of ways went further down the rabbit hole of stupidity. And it looked, judging where season 4 is going, it doesn't look like it's improving. It may have made a slight shift to the left, but it's still heading down into the annals of dumbness. But hey, if you want to experience the insanity for yourself, go check it out.
It's a ringing endorsement right there, folks. So, all right, this has been our Riverdale episode, and I think next week we're going to be getting into some other CW stuff. I think we're going to start our immense coverage of the Crisis crossover. I'm guessing, I don't know if I haven't talked with you about this, Cuz, but but I'm just assuming we're going to do it this way. The first week we'll talk about all the prelude and all the build up to the Crisis crossover, because by the time we record next week, and we could talk about time when we want to record, all the episodes are set, ready to go for the crossover, and then the following week we'll have the first batch of episodes, and I think we'll talk about that, and then episodes down the line when we come back from the winter holiday time and everything, we'll do the second batch of Crisis episodes. So we're gonna have a lot to discuss, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
So stay tuned to that, folks. And I guess we'll take us out of here. I'm Nick.
I'm Cousin Charles.
And this has been the All New CultureCast. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time. You've been listening to the All New CultureCast, where every episode is all new. Check out new episodes and our back catalog at allnewculturecast.libsyn.com. We can also be found on iTunes. The All New CultureCast, a saltwater production, copyright 2019. Thanks for listening.
I'd love to do that, but she's much bigger and stronger than me, so it's kind of a Black Widow type situation, or a praying mantis type. One of those things where the ladybug will eat the guy bug.